Hi everybody. Well, I'm just going to show you a little bit of stuff that you can do if you go into zip LEDs and what they can do, and also if you want to try and do some color work with RGB LEDs. Now, I'll show you the RGB LEDs in a different video because there's quite a lot to go over in this one. So we're looking solely at zip LEDs on this. Now, you might find zip LEDs that you want to have a mess around with, like this in my room. I've got two of these. One of them's got prongs on it that'll go straight into your prototyping board. The other one, this one here, look, has got connectors in it for cables that you can plug into your board, right? Okay, so there they are. Now, if you want to buy one of those, I don't know if you might want to go that far with it. You can get them. I've put a link on the classroom to Kittronics. They're about £12. They're not cheap, you know, but you can do a lot of stuff with them. Okay, so let's have a look and see how good they are. So we're going to have a mess around now with this one here. It's got 5 LEDs on it, and each one of those LEDs, don't forget, is full colour. It's RGB. You can write any colour you want to those, and you can control them individually. So use your imagination, what sort of things you can do with them. You know, you can make a thermometer that change colour as it gets hotter and goes up. You could do all sorts of things really with these. So there's my Microbit board in my prototyping setup. In the classroom you will find a close-up of how this breadboard should look, but basically, look, what I've done is I've picked up pin 2 from my pinout on the breakout board, and I've taken it into a line on the breadboard which goes to the signal channel, which is the middle one on this board, and then I've given it negative, so on the 0 volt or ground I've given a black wire that goes to the 0V, that's this one here, on the Microbit breakout board. Now, you might notice, if you've got eagle eyes, there's another black wire going on there. Well, what's that all about? Well, let me tell you, right, the Microbit will not be happy if you try to run zip LEDs just off the voltage or the power that can be delivered through one of the pins on the Microbit board. So this zip LED, especially when you run white mode on the LEDs, so if you try to light all 5 of those LEDs up in white, you're going to pull a big current through pin 2, I think I'm attached to there, and you're going to damage the Microbit board. So you do have to give it another power supply. It needs a power supply which is rated at 4.5 volts. Okay, so 4.5 volts is going to come from a separate battery power pack, right? Now that separate battery power pack is going from my VCC to my 0, so there's a common ground, we call this. So both the black wires, the one from my Microbit and the one from my power supply, are both going into the 0 volt rail, so they're connected together. So we call that a common cathode, right? Okay, let's have a go and see what we can do with this little device then. So if I leave that sat on there, and if I try and lean that down a little bit so we can see, hopefully you can see everything going on, right? Okay, before we do anything, right, you have to install a library. Now, when you do coding with a scripted language like MicroPython, maybe you'll understand what a library is. With this one, it's really, really simple. I'm just going to create a file here called zip, right, and I'm going to create there. Now, with this one, like, what you have to do is you have to go, before you start doing any NeoPixel programming, you have to go down to the advanced button at the bottom, and you have to go down to the extensions little tab there. Now, have a look through the extensions. These are all third-party things that you can install and use with your Microbit. So NeoPixel is the Adafruit library, which allows you to control RGB zip LEDs, right? So if you click on that one, give it a second to reload, you will see that you've got another button that appears on your middle menu. That's the NeoPixel button. So the NeoPixel button lets you talk to the zip LEDs and control them. There's a little more button on this one as well. If you look underneath where it says NeoPixel, there's even more commands. So you've got lots of options when you want to control your NeoPixel. Okay, let's have a look and see what we do then. So first thing you've got to do is you've got to tell the Microbit that there is a NeoPixel zip LED attached to the board. So you go to this top one here that says set strip to NeoPixel at pin 0 with 24 LEDs as RGB format. Okay, so first thing is, let's put that into the start menu. So on start, set strip. Well, strip is just the name of a variable, okay, so we can leave it as strip or we can call it something else if we want to. NeoPixel at pin 0. Well, I'm talking to pin 2 here, so I'm going to change that to pin 2. And then how many LEDs have I got? Well, I've got 5, so I have to change that to 5. So now it knows that there are 5 LEDs connected. This little simulator now, the emulator, is actually showing me 3, but there are 5 attached to there, okay? It just hasn't got the option to show you 5. Okay, so now it knows there's 5 LEDs connected to pin 2. Next thing we can do is we can start to change the colour of those LEDs. So, forever, let's go to a forever loop and let's change the colour of those pixels, okay? So, what we can do now is set strip, so like same colour of the, same name of the variable, strip, show colour, red. Okay, let's show red, and let's go to, sorry, back to NeoPixel and more, and let's go to the one that says, I think you'll find it in here, I'm looking for one that says show. There you are, that one there. And then it says strip show. Now that catches a lot of people out, right? You think it's going to work just because you've got that command in, but you need to put the show command in as well. Okay, so I've just told it to go to red. Let's change the red. Let's go to green, okay? So let's see what happens now when we download that program. So we click download, look, and we get the Microbit code that comes up here as a hex file. You go show in folder. So my Microbit's already plugged in. It's down here. Look, you can see it on the menu on the left-hand side. I get my Microbit zip program and I drag and drop it onto the Microbit, and I get a programming bar that comes across, and hopefully now what will happen when it gets to 100% is I will have red LEDs on my strip. Oh, green, sorry. I don't know, can you see those are green? They are green. Take my word for it. It's quite bright in here, but they've gone green. Look, you can sort of see the green that's by me, okay? So maybe I'll change them to a different colour and we can see how good they are, right? Okay, let's change them to a different colour, right? So go back in here, change the colour. Let's go for a red colour. Back to red. Download red, look. And then drop red onto the Microbit. There it goes. So let it redraw, like, and you can see that in front of you now. It should hopefully turn red. Ready? Okay, it's very hard to see actually, but they have gone red. I can point them straight at you now, but these are glowing really red. I can really vividly see them red, but you can't see them on the screen, unfortunately. Okay, so you can change the colours, all of the colours of the LEDs, the zip LEDs, or you can change them individually. So let's have a look and see how we change them individually. So if you want to change them individually, look, instead of showing the whole strip colour red, what you'd have to do is you'd have to isolate the individual zip LEDs. So lose that one, go back to NeoPixel, and look for the one that says, I think you'll find it in more. So you go to the one that says set color at, so they are, oh, I haven't put that in the bin, set color at pixel 1 to red, and then show, show by here. And what you should be able to do now is just control one of those LEDs on channel LED 1, right? So here we go. Let's bring that up, and let's go show in folder, and then drag and drop that one onto the Microbit. And now hopefully, if I should put this right towards the thingy, you should see that changing. How bizarre that you can't see the red on that at all. You can see it reflected in my finger. Okay, so now one of these should be red, so hopefully we'll see a little bit of a change. Ready? So this one has stayed red. It looks kind of white here, but it is actually red. Alright, so let's go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can control which LED you want to change. So you need to have a mess around now. So in the classroom you will find a PDF of the zip LED book, and it gives you ideas on how you can change the different colours of the LEDs. For example, showing rainbows, making a rainbow chase around the curve, reacting to a different input and stuff like that, shifting the pixels, rotating the pixels. So have a go, you know, you just need to have a mess around with that. It's really simple when you get into it, initially you might find it a little bit tricky, but have a go, see how you get on. Of course, you've got here the emulator. That should actually give you a good idea of what's going on. It will show you the colour that LED is making, and it will also show, if you highlight over the top of it, that is actually showing me my 5 LED setup. Look, and this is the one closest to the board, so 0. So oops daisy, I think if you hover over them it tells you which one it is. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the first one is 0. Yeah, first one is 0. Oops daisy, first one is 0. Okay, so that's something you need to mess around with. Don't forget, if you want to start with that, you've got to go to the extensions window. You've got to search in there for NeoPixel, install the NeoPixel extension, and let me tell you one other thing, right? You have to do that every single time you start the computer. It'll just use that library when you're writing code, and once you've finished it, it'll stop. So this one here, the only difference being, I guess, with this one, you tell at the beginning on the on start menu, it's an LED, zip LED connected to channel, whatever you're connecting it to, with 12 LEDs, and then you go from 0 to 11 with this one, and then you can control the LEDs as you like, but they work in exactly the same way with the Adafruit library. They are, have a go, because it's definitely something that's worth doing with your lighting project.